Hello, everyone. My name is Kathy Bollinger. I'm Managing Director of York County Community Foundation's Embracing Aging, and we're passionate about creating a York County where all ages can thrive. Embracing Aging's work is supported by donor Anna Gardner, who over 110 years ago gifted her estate so our residents could have the best quality of life possible as we age. We're honored to carry on her legacy. Too often, negative views about aging gets in the way of the quality of aging that we have. So Embracing Aging has started to host a series of sessions where we connect with older adults to share their stories around aging, their insights, their perspectives, their concerns, their fun experiences, anything and everything that they want to share. The purpose of these sessions is to, number one, help us to think more positively about our own aging. Number two, to help us think more positively as of older adults as a group, and also for all of us collectively to come together to help make our community not only a great place to grow up, but a great place to grow older. To learn more about our work, please visit us at embracingaging.org. Today's session is being recorded. We're going to have a question answer format for the first 20 minutes, and then we'll open it up to all of you who are joining us today to ask our guests some questions directly. And joining me today is Sonya Bloom. I am so excited to have Sonya with us. I first met Sonya in 2014. She was one of 7 older adults who joined Embracing Aging in creating our first draft of our Dismantling Ageism training. And during my time with Sonya, I laughed, I learned, I just fed off of the positivity that she brings into the room. And I'm just so delighted to have her here today. She's passionate about helping others think differently about aging and to address ageist attitudes. And welcome, Sonya.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. And I'm delighted for Zoom because we have friends here from Florida, Indianapolis, York, everywhere.
Excellent. Yay. It is
And it's
nice.
wonderful.
Wonderful way to connect, right?
It's a
So
wonderful way. Yes.
let's jump right in. So tell us what led you to begin your focus on addressing ageism and negative attitudes about aging?
I was chugging along, doing fine, and then I decided to let my hair get white. And when I let my hair get white, my whole world changed. Margie has heard me say this before in our sessions, and you have, Kathy, too. All of a sudden, a medical professional that I was seeing in York came into the room. I had been seeing him for years, and he started talking to me like this. I sat there and burned for a couple of minutes, and not even that long. And finally, I thought of a very complicated question to ask him. And I made him think. After that, he no longer treated me that way. Going into stores, cashiers and salespeople and other places started calling me honey and dearie. I decided to try and fight back by calling them sweetie pie or something, but the words wouldn't come out of my mouth. They just wouldn't come out. So I saw something about Kathy's Embracing Aging, and it hadn't been in existence that long, I don't think, had it?
No, it had just launched.
Yeah. And I thought, this is a good beginning because I've got to do something about this, because my brains did not fly out of my head when my hair turned white. My brains were still the same as they had been when I had fake brown hair, or Sally will tell you fake blonde hair, depending on how the sun hit my hair. Absolutely. So I joined Kathy and her group, and that was absolutely wonderful. I changed my own attitude. I have some notes here. And I started trying to be positive rather than negative. And then I started using it to my advantage. Oh, my daughter has the yeah, okay. Okay, thank you, Sally. I use it to my advantage. One day I was getting gas, and as there's always an attendant, even though it's a self-service station, and I didn't feel like putting my own gas in my gas tank. So I said, "Oh, could you help me put gas in the tank?" And the young man there said, "Oh, of course." I thought, I could do it, but I don't feel like it. I played feeble old woman for that.
Ah.
But then I noticed people volunteering to help. Handsome young men started holding doors open for me, volunteering to carry my groceries. I thought, hey, this is fun. It's not as miserable as I thought. And that was another thing. I just kept moving. Kept moving. Exercise is important, and we'll talk about that at some point too. In the water, out of the water, walking, but we'll cover that later. Um, Kathy?
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit how then the experience of working with embracing aging and how people treated you differently and talked to you differently based on when you left your hair go, back to gray? How did that lead you then to facilitate these TED Talk sessions with your peers? I know you focus what on Ashton Applewhite's, and
Yes.
hers is on the topic of ending ageism. And I think you also do TED or classes around Isabel Allande's How to Live Passionately No Matter What Your Age. So tell us a little bit about what got you started in this and what resonated about these videos that made you want to hold these conversations with your peers.
What had happened was I attended, and when I was in Florida, I attended a class at the library that showed TED Talks,
Mhm.
and we enjoyed them very, very much. So what we decided then was we would go, and I came back to York, and I think I spoke to Sandy Cooley, who then was in the program part of Ollie. And I said, I think maybe it would be good for Ollie, Osher Lifetime Learning Institute for seniors out of Penn State. And it's a wonderful program. And maybe we could have this as a program because they show a video and then they have a discussion. And Sandy said to me, "Oh, that's a good idea, but I don't have anybody to do it." And I said, "Oh, that's a shame." Well, guess who she found to do it? And that's how I started doing TED Talks. And I did pick the ones that applied to people in our age group. And it has worked out and it has grown. And when I'm in Florida, I do 2 a month. Um, and I do them for Ollie. And I was doing them at the library in Florida. And it was fun because the people are wonderful and it helps us tremendously. It's Ashton Applewhite in a TED video that I've shared looks at the positive side of aging. She urges us not to be taken in by the age trap. She says that there are no senior moments, just junior moments, and young people have lapses in memory too. And I believe that Ashton Applewhite actually did something in York. She appeared and spoke in York a while back. And her TED video is wonderful. And they're videos that anyone can watch. You just don't have the discussion unless you get together with friends. Another video is by Isabel Allende, and she states that aging is an attitude. And she gives examples of amazing accomplishments of older people. Isabel says we can't let what we can't do interfere with our lives. We have to focus on what we can do. And that is so true as we age, because there are so many things we could do when we were younger, but we can't do now. But there are so many things we can do now that we're older that we just didn't have the time or the patience to do when we were younger. In my TED Talk groups, we also discuss videos that relate to items such as stress, relationships, downsizing, many other subjects, what's going on in the world. And many times most of the time we learn from the videos and from each other. So the phrase Ashton Applewhite says that aging is not a condition or a disease. The phrase that is not how old you are, but how you're old is a page from a daily calendar that a much younger friend gives to me every year. It's a daily calendar and it does all kinds of good things to me. I know what day it is when I remember to change the day. But sometimes I don't remember to change the day and I think, that doesn't look right. But each page has a nice thought on it. And that was one that I really, really like.
And that really is a powerful statement. It's not how old you are, but how you are old. And just let's just pause and reflect on that for a moment. And as we do, a reminder to all of us, as Sonya said, that this is not, aging is not about comparing our abilities to what we can do to a younger person or what we look like compared to a younger person or younger ourselves, but it's about our life story, our wisdom, and really focusing on what we can do as we age. So thank you for sharing what resonated with you from those TED Talks. And everyone, we're going to send out links to those 2 TED Talks. So after today's session by email, so that you can check them out yourselves if you like. But let's keep going, Sonya. What have you been hearing? What are some of the common themes that people say during these facilitated sessions? What are they thinking about their own aging?
I'll start first with the negative because I like to end with the positive, because I think we have felt both. Each and every one of us has felt both. Someone said with COVID, and COVID just complicates things for all of us. We don't get out very much. Probably most of you don't get out very much. But we have Zoom, and I'm delighted to have that. I wasn't going to do the positive. Okay, we'll go back to the negative. With COVID, someone said they feel old, depressed, and too much time to think. People who are by themselves get very lonesome and really want human touch. That's very, very important. They felt that they're losing friends and relatives. And the thing that I hear most commonly is, I need a hug. And we do feel that way. I think everybody feels that way at one time or another. Some people feel a loss of independence. A lot of us feel a loss of independence. And I felt that very much when I had a couple of surgeries and I met Kathy for lunch with my cane a few times. And I felt kind of powerless that my independence was taken away. Almost everybody has setbacks, but there are many positives. First of all, we're free from deadlines when we're older. Nobody's going to say you have to do such and such by such and such. And if you don't, so many people are going to suffer or whatever. I'll do what I want to do when I want to do it. There are days when those of you who know me, sometimes I don't get dressed until noon. And I found that other people are the same way. Pat's hand is going up too. Yes. We've talked about gratitude. Gratitude. One of the things that a couple of my groups do is they keep a gratitude book of all the good things in their lives. And they write something in it every single day. And if they're feeling it all down, they just look at a couple of pages of their gratitude book. Someone else in one of my groups said that she always wanted to write a children's book, and she wrote one for her grandchildren. And now people have said it's so good, they're urging her to get it published. We have to focus, again, I'll say, on what we can do. And someone else said, I have a lot that I want to do, and I'm far from being done yet. And we are. We have to live and get the most out of each day.
Wonderful feedback from the participants. I'd like to ask you, I don't know, for some of you on the call, you might remember this, hearing me say this in the past. I know Sonya knows about this. But when our initiative first rolled out, we literally had people, well, I shouldn't say we, but I, as I was approaching people or people would hear that when leading an initiative called Embracing Aging, I had people go like this to me, like, oh, get away. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to think about this aging thing, or, oh, it's not sexy like downtown revitalization. Yeah, they just wanted to keep it at arm's length. So here we are 7 years into this journey. And I'm wondering from your perspective, Tanya, since you were with us from the beginning, do you think that we're moving the needle on changing attitudes around aging? What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I think. Well, we have, first of all, our last two presidents have been elected in their 70s. Actors and actresses who are older now are able to get parts. People are not afraid to show people who are older. Um, Younger people and are helping older people get appointments for COVID shots. My daughter is laughing because she got them for us. And I keep telling her how grateful we are because we finally have had both of our shots, and that is great. Um, Ollie, I'm just wondering if possibly, Pat, you might tell us just a quick thing about Ollie because it's wonderful.
Okay, I first joined Ollie after I retired in, I think, around 2007, 2008. And it's a very great organization. We offer classes on a variety of topics, generally at Penn State York, but during the COVID pandemic, we've had to move to Wisehaven. Uh, what I tell everybody is you will meet the best people in Ollie, and all of us are over 55 years old.
Thank you. Yes, and there are courses there are book clubs, there are movies, there are some scientific things, talking about fighting crime, you name it. I once went to an Ollie class, someone who dug places where outhouses used to be, and he was talking about all the artifacts that he found. We have a huge variety. There are exercise classes. My daughter Sally does them. She's in Indianapolis now, and she does them on Facebook, and they just went on YouTube. And you can watch them anytime, and they're geared to senior citizens. Last night, we watched a program from AARP, a Zoom program, and it was very good. We decided not to talk what it was because this is a mixed group. It was geared more to women. So we won't go any farther than that. My own beliefs, the way I feel, I think that we should remember the past, but not dwell on the past, and keep an eye open for the future. Live each day to the fullest. My own experience has showed me that my attitude helps somewhat to change the negative attitudes. My experience in embracing aging got me started. Thank you, Kathy. We don't have to be helpless about people being discriminating. Sometimes they're going to be. But if they see that we can do things and we will do things, and we're not just going to sit in the rocking chair, even if we have conditions sometimes that make us do that, people change their attitudes. Each and every one of us can be an ambassador to change negative perceptions. This is our time right now. Yes, there's COVID, but we can do something. There are things we can do for ourselves. At our age, in this age, let's try to remember Ashton Applewhite's words that we should not be taken in by the age trap. In my calendars, it's not how old you are, but how you are old, that it counts.
Thank you, Sonya. Really appreciate hearing your perspectives. And now I'd like to open it up to our attendees and have them ask questions. You can either put your questions in the chat box, or if you want to just raise your hand, and Roth and I'll try to monitor. Marianne, I saw your hand go up, so we'll open it up to you.
First, I want to say I am seeing this in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So, hello, y'all.
Hi.
Although I'm actually a Yankee by birth. One of the things that I think is troublesome, and I don't know how to combat it, and maybe y'all can help me, is the language people use. People our age and people around us use words that are negative to describe aging. And, there's so many jokes and there's so many things about, I just don't know how to change the language people use. I get ticked off that, that they advertise, pads for women or men on television, like it just encourages the negativity that we feel. And how do we change people's language about being older? How many jokes have we seen and laughed at? And that's negative to me. I don't know. Is there a question in there somewhere?
I think it's all a big question. Help, help, help. How do we change this? My only answer is that we have to do it on an individual basis and just prove that we can keep on going and we can do our things. And if enough of us expose the people who do this, if we expose another side of aging to them, maybe we'll have some impact. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sonya. I didn't mean to.
I was going to say, when we started embracing aging, there wasn't any positive around at all that I can remember. Can you, Kathy?
Well, people were concerned. They didn't want to think about their aging, that's for sure. But what I'd like to add to your question, Marianne, is, what I try to do, and excuse me, what I try to do is I just try to say, oh, really? Well, why do you think that? Or in just general conversation. So like, for instance, words that we hear a lot are, oh, she looks good for her age. I say, oh, really? Well, where's it written that a 71-year-old looks a certain way or a 55-year-old looks a certain way? I just think she looks good, period. Or, hey, she's having a senior moment. I'm like, oh, really? I think we should call it what it is. It's a forgetful moment. I know older people who remember things really well and younger people who don't. So I just try to put it into natural conversation and ask the words, really? Or, oh, wow, let's think about that. Or why do you think people, describe older people that way? And I think if we collectively, ageism is still an accepted form of prejudice that's tolerated in our society. You would not go into a party goods store and see any other type of products like the over-the-hill products for any other ism. So, we got to, as a group, say, enough's enough. It's not okay. So hopefully that gives you some tips, Marianne. And also on our website, embracingaging.org, we have some strategies to combat ageism.
I just want to make another comment to Marianne. I read somewhere that we start losing memory at the age of 28. So whenever anybody says a senior moment, I go, are you 28? Are you 29?
Ooh, I like that.
Something like that. And I have another quote for you, Sonya. It's by Satchel Paige. And I think most of us are old enough to know that Satchel Paige was a famous African-American baseball player who played in the Negro Leagues and finally got to play in the major leagues near the end of his career, where I believe he's over 40. But he never knew his birthday. So he never knew how old he was. So his quote is, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you are?
That's good. And you put that at the end of all your emails, Pat, and that's good.
I love it. I have a different one now, but it'll come back because it resonated with me.
Very good. Thank you.
I just heard a quote, age is a number and mine's unlisted. And I like that because I thought, why do I have to tell you how old I am? Not that I'm not proud of it. I was very proud that I was going to become 70, not knowing that a week after I became 70, COVID would happen. So what I planned for this year didn't happen. One of the things that I, being from another state, even though I've been here for half my life, in Baltimore, everybody's hun was said with a different accent. So coming up here, it was interesting to find no one wanted to be dear or sweetheart, but yet I have people call me that on the phone, and I happen to know they're older, but they don't know how old I am, and close in their age. Some older, I'm older than. To me, those are terms of endearment that across my life I've heard are given to all age groups. But in Pennsylvania, that's York County. It is really frowned upon. I, by accident, said, "Oh, here, I'll give you a pen." And she looked at me and said, "My name is," and I thought, oops, that's that one person I'm not supposed to say that to. So sometimes I feel we get too hung up on some things that really is, can be ignored, or maybe we should see it not as an ageism thing, but just a nicety, just a kindness. And of course, I'm a Baltimore hun, so hun is engraved in me. And it's great when you don't remember somebody's name. Oh my gosh, hun, it's so good to see you. But food for thought. Maybe
it is another
maybe
side.
we can pull back on the negativism of someone just being endearing and kind, and that it's not about the age. But here it is. Your county is about the age. You call people dear, sweet. It's condescending.
It is.
I don't see it as condescending, but that's how I grew up.
I think a real good strategy to employ is to get to know the people and honor them, and recognizing that, yes, for some people that is a fine terminology to use, and others it is offensive. And I think that if we would honor and get to know people, to know what's the best way to address them. I do think that sometimes when you have a professional, like sometimes I've been in the room with a healthcare professional and an older adult, and instead of addressing the older adult by name, they call them honey or sweetie, and that to me, I don't think is the proper setting. So I think it all is based on your own individual views, and recognizing that some things are going to roll off of people's backs better than others. But it is all about getting to know the person, I think.
I think your county is pretty much negative, and it's not going to roll off backs of us.
Well, you know what you lead me to believe?
Which is all right.
You lead me to believe that it is regional. So many other things, so many things are life are regional. And with me, I was already defensive about people talking down to me. I hadn't experienced that before. Right now, I don't mind. A favorite expression of mine is, you can ask me how old I am, I'll tell you, but don't you ask me how much I weigh, because I won't tell you. And that always makes them laugh.
Aww.
But I'm serious.
Well, and it is all about, just having conversations and seeking understanding. And that's what these sessions are meant to do. And once again, the 30 minutes went by very, very quickly. I know that Sonya has something that she'd like to share and read to us. But before she does that, we're going to end with her sharing that. I'd like to remind everybody that our next session is on March 25th. It is with myself, and it's the 10 things that we love about aging. And it's going to be a conversation as to with all of us, just interactive, informal conversation around the 10 things we love about aging. So I hope that you'll join us there. And before we end, then Sonya, you want to read your poem?
Yes. Yes, I found this online. It's an exercise for people over 60. Begin by standing on a comfortable surface where you have plenty of room at each side. With a 5-pound potato bag in each hand, extend your arms straight out from your sides and hold them there as long as you can. Try to reach a full minute, then relax. Each day, you'll find that you can hold this position for a bit longer. After a couple of weeks, Move up to 10-pound potato bags. Then try 50-pound potato bags, and eventually try to get where you can lift a 100-pound potato bag in each hand and hold your arms out straight for more than a full minute. The person who wrote this said, "I'm at this level." After you feel confident at that level, put a potato in each bag.
I love it. When she
Thank-
first shared this with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I use 5-pound weights. I can't imagine maybe 10, but never 50 or 100. And then when she got to the punchline, I was like, I love it. So again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sonya. It was great having you share. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a great
everybody.
day.
You guys
Yes,
have a
thank
great
you.
day.
Thank you, everyone. And